All right, brother Fee Taylor. Why don't you tell the people, man, who you are and what you about, bro?
Well, I'm the brother Fee. Some call me Fee Taylor, others call me Fee G. Um, I have a podcast called PLM News Network up under Positive Lifestyle Management. Um, I'm from the city of Chicago. I now live in Kentucky, but I'm still connected to the city. My family's still there. I'm from the west side of Chicago. I've spent the large portion of my life inside of prison. So when it comes to crime, street organizations, I'm an expert in that area. So I'm
What
here to give. Uh huh.
what street organization was you a part of, brother?
I'm a part of growth and development. I'm a firm and active and true believer in the concept and ideology of organization. I believe in it. I live for it. I've lived the negative aspects of it, which the concept doesn't teach negativity, was just in our ignorance. Now I'm living in the positive aspects of it.
All right, you've been to prison before, right?
Yes.
I never been to prison, man. You know what I'm saying? How long was your first bit, and how did you catch that first case?
Well, my first adult prison bit was in 1985, and I went to I was given a 3.5 year sentence for possession of a stolen motor vehicle, and I was sent to first I was sent to Joliet, and I was in the West House in Joliet, and we kicked off a riot against the administration there. So it was the prisoners against the administration, and so they wind up sending me to Stateville. So for the better part of I did that whole 3.5 year bit every day of it, and the majority of that time I was in Stateville.
Why you didn't get no good time, bro? Because of the riot?
Yeah, because I was staying in segregation, losing good time, wasn't earning no good time. I was a young man, 17 years old, and didn't care. Like most youth, I didn't care. So 3.5 years didn't mean nothing to me until I made it to Stateville and I got to be around some real influential brothers who start grooming me on the true aspects of what growth and development was about.
All right, so then you get out of jail. What's the next move?
When I got out of jail, I moved to Milwaukee. And I was living in Milwaukee, and what I did was, as a 21-year-old, I started selling drugs. Got into some things up there in Milwaukee and moved back to Chicago. And I say like 6 months of being back in Chicago, I was locked up. They locked me up. I was locked up for murder, armed violence, attempt murders, home invasions, kidnappings, a whole bunch of crimes. And I wound up receiving 30 years in the Illinois Department of Corrections. And so this was in 1990, I got locked up. I did 15 years, 2 months, and 15 days. Got out, moved to Kentucky. Stayed out almost 3 years. Down here selling drugs. Got popped, got 15 years federal time. I did 12.5 years in, 6 months on home confinement. So this after I did the 12.5 years. So I did basically 13. I was in Federal Bureau of Prison for a total of 13 years. So and I've been home almost 2 years now.
Right. So all together, how much time did you spend in prison?
If you count the 3.5 years plus the 15 years, 2 months, and I did over 31 years in the adult prison system. And I'll be 55 Friday. So I've done the majority of my life inside of prison.
All right. So that's crazy, by you being going to prison at 17, 18 years old, whatever. Yeah. What was your mindset like, bro?
Like most youth, I had an obscured or a misconcept on what growth and development was about. And so this mindset led me to gang banging. And I had a I don't care attitude. That's the type of attitude that I had. And so uh, it didn't matter to me. It really didn't, because I thought I was really putting in work for a real cause. But what I was doing was I was putting in work for towards destruction. That's what it was about. It was all about destruction. Then once I got in prison, the very same peoples that we was out here gang banging against, now we in prison. Now we allies with these very same peoples that we was gang banging against.
Mm. What
So,
what was the difference between, like, that you think, between the 90s gang banging and today's gang banging?
okay, the difference is it was organized, if you want to say it this way. It was organized gang banging. It wasn't the type of gang banging it is today, where as though it's basically small cliques. This is what this is today. Back then, it was more of an organized structure. It was more organized. And if one of the older brothers in the neighborhood say, "Hey man, that's dead. That's over with." It was over with. One no so-called thing as what they call it today, backdoor. One no dissing the peoples who was dead, because we didn't want people to know what we were doing. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't get on no social media, but we didn't brag about the things that was going on. We allowed the dead to rest.
Man, that's powerful right there. So you get out of jail for the last time. How long did it take for you to start Positive Lifestyle Management?
Positive Lifestyle Management started while I was inside the Bureau of Prisons. And I was in Sandstone at the time, Sandstone, Minnesota. So we had started a program, a prison-based program, where as though all the organizations inside the prison, we would come together and we would make sure that everything in the prison was organized. We put on programs. We had all type of little cookouts and whatever, I guess you want to call it a cookout, whatever. And we all came together. So Positive Lifestyle Management started there. Me talking to the young brothers that was coming in, and they telling me about social media. So that's where it started at. That's where it sparked at.
All right, so you get out of jail, and they was telling you about social media while you was in jail. You get out of jail, you come in contact with social media. What was you thinking?
I was amazed, because now my mind operates like if I try to figure things out. And I'm sitting here, I'm trying to figure out the phones. I'm trying to figure out social media. I'm trying to figure out how is it that I can talk to you on Messenger. I ain't got to have your number. I ain't got to have none of that, but you can call me. I'm like, how can you call me? I ain't got your, you know what I'm saying? It was amazing to me. You know what I'm saying? So one of the brothers who's locked up, he had seen one of a live that I did, and he said, "Man, you could do a podcast." Like, man, I ain't thinking about no podcast. And that's what really sparked me to start doing it, because I started teaching, and I seen that there was a lot of misleading and misteaching of the concept on social media. So I came to be that voice of reason and to teach the truth.
Okay. So what is your podcast about? Teaching the truth. Teaching the truth about what, bro?
About the educational, economical, political, social development, what's going on inside our communities. Who's actually the enemy? Who's actually our enemy, and what is actually our enemy? In order for us to even know these things, we have to become aware of what's going on in the community. We're not even aware of what's happening, because we are so caught up in the day-to-day cycle. They got us like a hamster on a wheel. We so caught up in the repetitive day-to-day cycle. People's dying every day, and we keeping it moving. We'll give our RIPs and rest in heavens, and next thing you know, we going on from that new news cycle.
Right. So Chicago back then was more organized and had way more structure than it does now, right?
Yes, sir.
So what happened to change that?
This is what happened. I'm that generation that the new concept was made for. When the new concept came out in 1981, I was 14 years old. And so the new concept was for me. That's why the older brothers were saying, teach our younger brothers and sisters on the street about our new direction. So as these brothers that was out here in the street, they wind up catching cases. They wind up catching Fed cases, not only from growth and development, but from the Vice Lord organization, the Black Disciple organization, the Latin King organization. All street organization leaders were taken off the street, and the children was left to defend for themselves.
Did that shit happen like to Bloods and Crips as well?
The Bloods and Crips are not organized the way Chicago street organizations are organized. Chicago street organizations are designed from a hierarchy. It's like corporation. All these organizations in Chicago are set up like corporations. You know what I'm saying? And so when you take the head away, now you leave a vacuum because everything is so structured. Crips and Bloods are not designed that way. They're not designed in a hierarchy. They don't have a set leader or a set group of leaders or set structures. They don't have that.
So that made it easy for the feds to infiltrate Chicago then, right?
Most definitely. Because if you're dealing with a situation where as though there's no real set structure, right? It's hard to infiltrate that because you don't know who to target. But if it's easy to target Chicago, now let's just get past Chicago. I want to get past Chicago because these street organizations out of Chicago has migrated throughout the country now. So now the feds say, okay, now we got a wider net that we can use. We can go down to Tennessee and do a conspiracy. We can go to New York and do a conspiracy now. We can go to Alabama. We can go to Georgia. We can go wherever and do these conspiracy and get them.
I never thought of it like that. You're right. A weaker link could be like down south someplace, right? And it probably could be easy for the feds to infiltrate that small, area, and then it leads all the way back to the top in Chicago.
No,
right?
No, what it is, let's just be honest. The South right now is what's truly holding the positive, productive aspects of the organization together. The South, as well as some parts of the Midwest. But if you think about Chicago, Chicago is in an uproar. It's in an uproar. You mentioned this today yourself when you were speaking about the situation with the FBG brothers. You mentioned it yourself. It's in an uproar. It's in a total uproar. It's in total chaos. And it's designed this way though.
Hey, Fee, but look, check this out, man. I talk to people all over the country. When I interview rappers, like I did like 10 rappers from Jacksonville, Florida. Right now, Jacksonville, Florida is hot, bro. What I'm saying is they not losing people like Chicago is, even though they are losing people. You know what I'm saying? Let's just look at the Young Thug situation. Do you know anything about that?
Okay, I've been following it briefly. And that it's a sad situation. The Young Thug situation, the little brother that just got killed, Trouble, the other little brother that's locked up, the what's his name? FYN or FNY Lucci, and the other little brother down there in Memphis, Dolph. It's a sad situation. It's sad.
But I'm saying, right, what's the difference between Atlanta and Chicago as far as the killings? Why are we doing more in Chicago?
You know what the difference is?
What's that, bro?
The name, Atlanta and Chicago. Cause like Willie D said in the Ghetto Boys, your ghetto ain't no harder than mine. You know what I'm saying? Cause Chicago has 3 million people there. Atlanta has what, 500,000, 600,000. So if you getting 200-300 murders, that's a lot of murders
per capita, right?
Yes, that's a lot of murders, and it looked like, man, it's a lot of murders that's happening in Atlanta. It's a lot of murders that's happening in Chicago. You know.
All right. So with the structure being took from Chicago, and they started using those smaller cells, could you explain more about that?
Okay. When the structure was taken away, right? And I explained this before on my podcast. What you had younger brothers that was left out here, and the older people, the older men, older brothers that was out here from all street organizations, they were afraid of the youth. They neglected the youth. They wanted to be in leadership, but they was misusing them and misguiding them. And so now the youth was made to lead themselves.
All right, so back in the days in Chicago, back in the 90s, right? Zach TV spoke of this as well, because Zach TV was from the hood, man. He was from the Hundreds, right around the corner from where I was at. So it was a thing back in the 90s. My little brother and them was involved in it. Like a lot of kids from all across Chicago was saying STO. What that mean was Shorty's taking over. Back in the 90s, bro, they had some like we thought it was a joke at first. Like we thought it was just
90,
our neighborhood.
90 what? After 90,
I'm gonna say 97 to 2002.
And I've just finished say that 97. Watch this here. The last major indictment that happened on the South Side with brothers from Growth and Development was 1997. So the South Side.
So they had one in 95
and 97. They came right behind. That's how the other brothers got caught up.
All right, because they locked up to 39 at first, right?
Yep. Then they come back.
And then how many did they lock up then?
Okay, they came back. They got Jimmy D.
Yeah.
They got GF.
Yeah.
They got Compton. Black, that's the name. They got Nazareth Wilson. I think that's the brother name. They got about 7 or 8 more of them. Maybe 9 or 10. You know what I'm saying? They came back. They got another group. So now the South Side is in an uproar.
Let me ask you this: how many people was in that second group that they got? You think? Giving me a rough number.
I'm saying it between probably like 6 to 8. You know what I'm saying? Because Raheem wound up on that second indictment as well. So Raheem was on both indictments because he the only one that received a bond from the first indictment. Then he came out and got caught up on the second indictment.
So we got the Shorty second over, and the second indictment came down. That took away what? That took away men from the community, right?
Exactly. You took away the last of that structure that was holding Southside together.
And one of those men that was took in that indictment was Lil Durk's daddy, right?
No, he was a part of
95.
No, he was a part of the first indictment. Their indictment happened in like 93 or 94. That's Durk's daddy. He was a part of the very first indictment, and then the 95 indictment came.
You know, I can remember just waking up, coming outside, and my cousin was outside, like, the feds just grabbed everybody. And I'm like, what the fuck? And like the feds just grabbed everybody, like it just hit us like early in the morning, like waking up, like they could have came and got me. Like I would have still been asleep. Like they, right. You know what I'm saying? Like they did those guys. So tell us about that indictment. Which year was that, and what was that about?
Matter of fact, that indictment came down August 31st, 1995. But Pops was locked up in July of 95. He was locked up first.
Hey, Pops, they say Pops got the death penalty
Pops was the only one received the death penalty on that case, but now he's off death row. He's off death row. You know what I'm saying? He's still in the he in Coleman. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to our brother Pops, man. Free Pops, man. Free Daryl Johnson and free Quan Ray.
How the fuck did Pops be the only person to receive a death penalty and nobody else did? Because he wasn't the leader, right?
According to the indictment, a confidential informant was murdered. According to the indictment.
You know back in the day, it was a guy, man. He had like a purple flip-flop paint cutlass, man, like a 90-something cutlass. That's when they first came out with the new body style. Like everybody loved them. Like they was cool as hell, them cutlasses. Like I even got one, like a red drop top. Like I still love that model. It's just too small right now. But it was a guy, man, he had that cutlass. He had them blades on it, flicking through the hood, looking good. And, you know, niggas be like, man, what's up, folks? Throwing out the forks to him. I'll be like, who is that nigga, man? Oh, man, that's Jello. He from down there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Tell us about Jello, man. Who
I don't really know too much about him. All I know is that he was murdered. And they stuck the case on Quan Ray and our brother Pops. Did they do it? I don't think they did it. You know what I'm saying? But that's the government. That's how the government played. The government played dirty ball.
But wait a minute, wasn't he? He was an actual agent, or was he?
Yeah, he was a confidential informant.
A confidential.
He got according to the documents, he got pulled in and started working. They put him back in traffic.
Then they caught him up like down Southern Illinois, right?
Yes. They called him, took some stuff from him or whatever, and they put him right back in traffic. Right. You know what I'm saying? So he wound up getting killed. Mm-hmm. And so they put the case on.
They blamed it on a couple of people from the neighborhood for whatever reason. Did they have any hard evidence? Like,
no. They had a bunch of people that was on their case with them that was trying to get out. And in the process of getting out, the feds don't care. This is how the feds operate, bro. And I'm going to give you some real shit. The feds don't care, man. They don't care if you lying or not. If I get up there and say, man, hey man, I got some information on low, they will help me create the information on you. You know what I'm saying? They don't care. They ain't even got to have nothing, bro. Listen, all they need is my word. And say, yeah, Low doing this, he doing this, the brother doing this, and they'll pull you in and take you to trial and convict you.
It was a lady in Chicago recently. I think I forgot what type of occupation she has, but she was in her house taking a bath, taking a shower. Police ran and kicked down her door, had her all on body camera. She was standing in the corner naked. And it was because of a confidential informant, right?
That's how they roll, bro. That's how they roll. That's how they roll. And it could be the very people's. See, the feds are not like regular polices. So they don't go around patrolling the community like regular polices. What the feds do, the feds are like parasites. They're gonna wait for somebody to get popped. They'll give them a case, then they'll get them to start working. Then the feds will start investigating because they'll know nothing about you, man, if it don't be for the people that's getting popped. That's how they operate, man. And see, this is what our young men are not understanding today. They own these rap videos, rapping about smoking on somebody's dead homie, They on these videos with all these guns, talking about murder cases and all this stuff. People's getting killed, and the feds are using those lyrics and video footage to convict them, man. And they don't even see what's going on with them, man.
Hey,
they thinking it's cool, social media.
Hey, Fee, let me tell you this, right? You know, Jay-Z and Meek Mill, they went to the New York Senate and they got a law passed where the feds, well, not the feds, but the state cannot use your lyrics against you.
Okay.
That just happened like a week ago.
That's the state.
Yeah, I understand. That's why I had to clarify. I think it was this. Yeah, it got to be the state. They went to New York State and they got them to where, you know, so when you look at like Young Thug catching that indictment and it's a state case, is the state hoping that the feds gonna pick that case up with the evidence that the state got?
That only applies for New York. That don't apply for Georgia.
I know. I'm saying, yeah. I'm gonna ask you to speak about both of them.
Okay. The feds could just come in. I think the feds already got Young Thug case, right?
Oh no, it's a state case. Are they hoping for the feds to say, y'all got like you said, they parasites, right?
This is what they did.
Police all the evidence, and they hoping that the
feds will come in and get. They ain't got to hope nothing. The feds will come get it. Because this is what they did with me when I got arrested on my case, right down here. My case was a state case, but I couldn't go nowhere because the bond was so high and I didn't have no community ties down here. So I was just sitting in the jail like a sitting duck, and they would never give me a bond. They wouldn't even give me a plea deal because they say that the Department of Justice was looking at the case. And 3 months later, I went into the courtroom. 3 months later, the feds indicted me. I went into the courtroom for the state, and the state dropped the case, and the feds took me in. You know, so that's how they work.
All right, so check this out. All these fathers are being took from the community.
Right.
When is this happening? Back in the 90s? You say before 2000, they had a lot of fathers off the streets.
Let's think about this here. A lot of the youngsters out here today, right? They 31, 28, 29, 30, right? They are my children age. My children are 31. Both of them are 31. So these children are my children's age. So I'm their father. So you got to look at my generation. My generation was taken off the street for the alleged so-called fake crack epidemic. It was so many mothers and fathers that was on drugs back then. So a lot of these babies that you see today, these young men and women, they are so-called crack babies. They dope babies. They heroin babies. The fathers are dead or in jail. The mothers were sprung out on drugs. So a lot of these children today, this is what you see. This is the result of my generation.
Wow.
This is my generation.
I think this, right? Let me say this. One of the most violent groups of people in the world, especially in America, but in the world, is the single mother.
You say the most violent?
Yes.
Why you say that?
Mothers are violent as fuck, bro. Mothers are violent.
Why you say that?
The father used to whoop the child back in the day. The mom wouldn't touch him. You know what I'm saying? She'd say, wait till your father get home. But now we got these violent women. If you look at, bro, do you watch YouTube? Do you watch the internet, man? Women are fighting. Women are killing. It was a rumor that came out that FBG Cash was killed by a woman, and I believed it until more information came.
Now watch this here, bro. Women been killing all the time, bro. It's just that it wasn't as many social media outlets to report it. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that many social media outlets back then to report it. So women been going to jail. All you got to do is to get the prison population.
How long they been beating their boys?
My mother was the ones that disciplined us. My dad didn't discipline us, and I had both of my parents in the house. I think out of all my years, my dad only whooped me 2 times.
How irrational was your mom compared to your dad?
My mama was she enforced.
How irrational was she? I'm talking about in life, not whooping you and disciplining you. In life, like my mom, like she was snap. Was she?
No, my
she
mama was a good woman, man.
All right, well, you was born in a different era.
Yeah, I was born in the 60s.
Nowadays, women is ratchet. They backdooring niggas, right?
But who they get it from?
From them. They got it from them.
No.
To do it back in the slavery days. They backdoored the slave masters and all that shit. They used to poison that nigga, like give that nigga a couple pills, make him fall asleep and feed the slaves and all type of shit. Come on.
I'm gonna tell you what the brother Farrakhan said, man.
Get that nigga some pussy, make him fall asleep and go feed the slave. Do all type of underhanded shit. Eve.
I'm gonna tell you what the brother Farrakhan said, man.
A no good
Farrakhan,
is a no good nigga behind the.
You better believe it, and that's the truth. That's the truth, man. Because most women are a reflection of their man, or the lack thereof. So if there isn't a man in the picture, now the woman has to take on both roles.
Slavery,
slavery is a part of it because that's the changes.
We understand that, right? But with black people being at our most, making the most money, doing the most things, being able to travel. My woman had been to 18 different motherfucking places this year, bro.
Okay.
The only reason I ain't did it is because I'm the type of nigga that want to make these videos and expand on being a media person. You know what I'm saying? So she's taking trips, you know, and all the girls, I see them, it's 15 of them. They going to Vegas, they going to Memphis. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of them. So my whole thing is women nowadays are a different breed than they were back then.
So let me see if I can get you to understand this here, because I love
a no good nigga is behind a woman. But
let me tell you this here. So since we went to this level, let me tell you this here from my perspective. No woman on the face of the earth can understand the struggle that I go through as an Asiatic man in America more than an Asiatic woman, man. Bottom line. So I love my sisters. My sister has always been on the front line. My sister has always been the one that was holding down the family when I wasn't there. My sister was the same person that was marching when them civil rights movement, the Fannie Lou Hamers, the Sojourner Truth, the Ida B. Wells, the Harriet Tubman. That was them sisters, man. You know what I'm saying? The Coretta Scott King, we got to get them. The Angela Davis, we got to get them their props. You know, now what we have to do, we as men have to stand up and take our place in affairs of men. We're not taking our place in affairs of men.
Yeah. Hey, you know, you know, it's a saying, right?
Yep.
And that saying is black women are the most educated. What do you think that means?
They're the most educated?
You ain't never heard that? You never heard that before? You never heard that before?
No, I ain't never heard that term. That they the most educated of what? Of us?
Are the most educated, period.
Okay, then if you want to speak on that term, I will always say that a sister has always been more smarter than me. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say that if you want to say it in that terms, because I respect my sister, so I'm gonna give her props. You know, but now she could be a cold-hearted, evil person the same way I could be that way.
I hear my dog, my security out there making sounds. I ain't used to that. I got to grab a 40, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Hey, look, check this out. my point, I was being sarcastic about that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you never heard that. I can't argue with you with that because you don't know that. Black women are the most educated. They say that. And guess what that education brings? That education brings that. You know what I'm saying? That education brings a black woman to treating some black men like you. Some black men like you, black women treat like a child because they're more educated. Because
Like me?
they make more money.
No, they don't.
No, not like
No, they don't treat me like no child. I'm a man.
right. Not an alpha male. Not an alpha male. But not an alpha male. It's a whole community built on that, bro.
Because let me say this here. I want to get this. I want the audience to know this here. I am an independent man. I live by myself. I pay my own bills. My woman got her own place. And she pay her own bills.
The babies from my generation, like a little bit younger than my generation,
right?
In my generation, everybody knows. That's the campaign trail. I'm surprised you never heard that, bro. It really sounds foreign to me that you don't know that CNN says it. Fox News says it.
Man, I don't listen to no damn Fox News and CNN.
Black women are the most educated, right? So I'm bringing you back to the whole black women are violent and a dangerous group of women thing that I'm talking about.
I don't know what type of women you around, man. I don't know what type of women you around, fam.
Dealers and drug dealers, man. Hey, look, let me tell you something. I met a girl at work. At work, and you know, my job. It's a real good company. It's a very liberal company, even though they still got a lot of racist ways in them. It's a very liberal company. So what they do is it's a homeless shelter in the closest town, in the nearest town next to us. What they do is they bus in people from that homeless shelter. They start them off. They got a temp service there. They made some type of deal with the homeless shelter, brought a couple of buses. So they bring the people that's getting fresh out of jail, basically like the halfway house, one of the halfway houses, bring them to my job, and they give them a chance. One of the guys went down to the state capitol with the CEO of the company, and he was a tech guy, but he was locked up for 10 years, and the nigga knew computers. You know what I'm saying? Right. So they took him with him, and he was a good guy. Nigga came up. Now, they took him with him to the Capitol and said, hey, this is what we doing. We bringing guys, second chance these guys. You know what I'm saying? He was white, though. One chick came. She say, I help her. She say, people don't think I'm a woman or something. And I was like, why they don't think that? She was like, I don't know. I was like, you're a beautiful woman, man. You know what I'm saying? And my thing is, that's the mind state of the average black woman. They're tough and criminal. I was like, no, you're a beautiful woman. She ain't no.
So let me ask this question, bro. Are you with a sister?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So is she violent? She a criminal?
No.
Okay. All right then. Hey, you know, hey. I'm gonna defend. I'm gonna defend that sister.
Let me say this, right? All right, that's blindly defending sisters, blindly.
I'm gonna defend it because all the time I did in prison, it's always been the women that was been holding me down. There ain't been none of these men.
Of course. See, we getting the wrong. We gotta figure each other out on our mind frames. You gotta watch some of my content. I watch a lot of your content because I'm into what you into. Right. I'm into that street shit. So I watch your content. I know what type of man you are, Fee. But the thing is, the newer generation, that's why we on this FBG Cash shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So everybody that don't want to hear our conversation, they can come in and leave. Come in.
Right.
We're gonna find the motherfuckers that want to hear our conversation. I'm still on the same point.
They gonna want to hear it. They're gonna want to hear it soon. They're gonna go back and listen to all this here, because you know why? And I agree with you in this sense. You have a lot of women today who are setting men up.
My
You
whole
know,
point is they making these kids. They making these kids. That ain't even my point. My point is the average black mom is a violent mom that live in the city. She's a violent mom nowadays. She's young. She want to be young, but I was trying to get in ease into it. She want to be young. She want to be hanging out. She want to have multiple men. You know what I'm saying? She sometimes want to treat the man that she like. I'm not a Pookie or a Ray Ray G. That's the thing. I'm not one of those niggas, but I understand the plight of those niggas. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been in situations before where I needed a motherfucker. Of course, you know what I'm saying? You got to maneuver the way you got to maneuver, but at the same time, never super serious. But I understand by watching, observing, seeing other niggas go through the shit, and it's a whole community about that. You're not a part of that community. I'm trying to brighten your horizons towards a community.
now let me explain this to you, bro.
I understand. Go ahead.
I just went through a situation, bro. And I went through a situation where, as though a lot of people didn't even know it, that I was homeless. I was homeless just last year, this around this time. I went through a situation with a woman, a sister. And regardless, I left the house. Only thing I had was the clothes on my back. I lost everything. Everything. But you know what? I have to understand that all the things that I went through with her, that was a combination of every man who had came before me. You know what I'm saying? And so I experienced and I got it, but I still would never disrespect her. I moved on with my life, hope that she's happy, and kept it pushing. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, more power to her. So I didn't have my fair share of ups and downs with these women, man. You know? So I understand what you're saying in that sense. You know.
Now, the thing is, what I'm saying is, the emotional boys in Chicago,
Right.
they all come from these women, right? All right. Not all of them, but they can lure others into it as well. It all comes from the government. So when you think it's all a part of, you know what I'm saying, the government making us this way. That's why they make labels like the black woman is the most educated. She's the most in debt as well. You know what I'm saying? All right, so they make labels like strong black woman. That was back in the 90s and 2000. Strong black woman. You know what I'm saying? What else? The black woman now, depending on the government for everything, this all leads up to the boys that killed FBG Cash yesterday. You know what I'm saying? It's all leads up to that, G. It's a 2-hour show, like you say. You know what I'm saying? Shit, it all leads up to that. And I got to let you understand that. So if you believe that the black woman, even though that's what Kevin Samuels, you say you don't even know Kevin Samuels in that box.
Man, you got to think, bro. A lot of the things that I study is I've been in prison. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the things that's on social media now is all new to me. The things that I've basically been studying, man, is life issues. You know what I'm saying? So enlighten me on Kevin Samuels.
He's just a guy that got onto the internet talking about men, about dressing up, looking good. When you go outside, smell good, what cologne to wear. You know, he found a niche with men. And then they started somehow talking about relationships. He was getting on men at first. Getting on men. He wears suit and tie. You know what I'm saying? Cut your hair twice a week.
Me growing up in the city of Chicago, I had a good child upbringing. Come up in the 2-parent home. Mother was educated. My father, I think my father had a ninth grade education. My father ran the streets. When he started having children, he buckled down, raised his family.
All right, so growing up in your regular house, man, with your mom and your dad, was it a traditional house?
Yes, both parents in the house.
All right.
Mom worked when she wanted to. My dad worked. You know what I'm saying? Good parents. We was, I didn't know we was poor.
Where your dad worked at? Of course. Where your dad worked at, though?
My dad worked at Calco Plating. First he worked at Keystone Plating that was over on 31st and Kids. Then he started working at Calco Plating up north, right across the street from the Cabrini Greens. My dad worked there for my dad worked for Danny all my life. And I only think my dad missed 5 days of work the whole time my whole life.
Was he was the primary breadwinner, right?
Yes, he was. And my mom, when she wanted to be, because my mom was a college student and everything.
No. This has nothing to do with mom choosing to go to work.
My mom could have went. My mom worked when she wanted to.
Right.
She didn't have to, but she did it when she wanted to.
See, that's the thing right there. Your mom had the choice to go to work to bring in extra money, maybe help out, but she could always go back to being a stay-at-home
mom
with no problem, right? No issue, right?
No issue.
Nowadays it's different, man, and that's what Kevin Samuels was talking about, bro.